Hey, this is Mark from Union Home Mortgage, and if you own a home in Michigan, you should have already or will be getting your 2026 notice of assessment. This form tells you what this year's taxable value is and what the increase was from last year. It'll give you what the increase of the state equalized value, which is basically the market value, what the city or township thinks it's worth, what your house is worth, which hopefully increased from last year to this year. So you're generally going to get this form in late February, early March. It depends on where you are. It's sent out by your taxing authority. So whoever you pay your property taxes to will send out this form. So I just want to walk you through this form real quick so you know what you're looking at. Again, this is specific to Michigan. So you'll see on the top front of the assessment, it says this is not a tax bill. This is just for your information. It'll say this. So in this case, the city of Rochester Hills is who's taxing this property. So you've got the name and address of the person who's on title, and this will be their current address. If it's not the actual property, it'll be their current address, and this is the actual property address that the taxes are being levied on. The assessment is for. So it has the property address, the school district code, and the parcel number. So over here, you have to check to make sure that this is correct. If you own the home as a primary, this should say 100%. So this is your cheapest taxes. So if you own the home as an investment property, it's a single family, or a 2, 3, or 4 unit, and you do not live in any of the units, it will say 0. If you own a multi-unit and you actually live in one of the units, it will be either 25%, 50%, or 75% exemption. So your taxes will vary depending on how you own that property. Not too many of us have a qualified agricultural property, but if you do, this will have 100% exemption. So if you're a veteran and you are disabled, you should have a form that says you're 100% disabled. And in Michigan, you no longer have to pay your property taxes. So if you fit into that category and you're paying your property taxes, you need to get that form and send that and call your assessor's office and say, hey, I don't have to pay my property taxes. And if you have any issue with that or don't know what to look for, give me a shout. And then if you've got a qualified forest property, that doesn't apply very often at all. And again, with the development property, that doesn't apply very often at all. So this is what the top of the form is always going to look like. So as we move down the form, right here it says a 2026 inflation rate multiplier is 1.027. So what that really means is if you did not purchase the property in 2025, last year's taxable value was increased by 2.7%. Doesn't matter where in the state you live. We all follow the same formula. So it shows the taxable value from last year, and then the taxable value from this year, which is a 2.7% increase in the actual dollar amount that taxable value went up. Now this number is not, so your property taxes themselves may or may not go up 2.7%. This is just part of the formula. This taxable value gets multiplied by your millage rate to determine what your actual property taxes are. And then the assessed value in this case went from $263,160 to $275,380, a $12,000 increase in the assessed value. Now the assessed value is the same as the state equalized value, which is what the city or township thinks that your house is. It's half of what they think your house is worth. So if you think you've been over-assessed, you can actually call up the assessor's department and say, hey, I think you guys have this wrong. And then they'll tell you how to dispute that. You'll see that the state equalized value and the assessed value are always the same. So let's see. So on the second page, it's gonna show you an explanation of the state equalized value and the taxable value. So again, the state equalized value isn't actually based on your specific house. It's based on your type of house, where it is, zip code, school district, square footage, acreage, that kind of stuff, and it will compare other like homes in the area. And so it's a 2-year rolling average. So for the 2026, it's a date range from April of 2023 to March of through March of 2025. Again, so this is just 50% of what they think the market value is. The taxable value is the lower of the state equalized value or the capped value. Now see, with the taxable value, it can only go up 5% or the rate of inflation, whichever is less. Now, a few years ago when home prices were skyrocketing and inflation was higher, we did cap out for a couple of years to the full 5%. Now, if you purchase the home in 2025, this formula no longer exists for you until next year. So what happens is that in 2020, if you purchase the home in 2025, the taxable value doesn't follow the capped rule. It gets uncapped and it will get raised to the whatever the state equalized value is for this year. And I've got a couple of examples that actually show up also on the back side of your assessment form. So let's start with example number 1. So the SEV, let's say, was 105 in 2025 and went up to 115.5 in 2026. The capped value capped value for the taxes went up to 2.7%, so went up from 100 grand to 102.7. And then the taxable value, because you own the property, you already own the property in 2025, it followed the capped rule. So the taxable value went up from 100,000 to 102.7. So this is what happens when you own the property in the previous year. You did not purchase that. So had you purchased that home in 2025, it follows a different rule. So the SEV is still going to go up what they think the house is worth. The cap value is still the 100,000 to 102.7, but the new taxable value does not follow the cap value. It gets uncapped. It increases to the level of the SEV, 2026 SEV, and then it gets recapped. Now, moving forward for 2027 and moving forward, it will follow the capped rule. So it's important you understand how this works. If you purchase your home in 2025, your taxes are going to go up, and it's going to go up more than typically they're going to jump. You should already know what that number looks like. If you don't understand how this works, I would talk to your loan officer if you got a mortgage. If you didn't get a mortgage or your loan officer is no longer available, you can reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you through this and explain the numbers to you. But it's very important you understand how your taxes change. Let me know how I can help you. Have a great day.